Speaking of
Yeah.
kung fu, I guess jujitsu actually. Former jujitsu specialist Jeremy Corbell. This is the best transition I think I've ever had on the show. He did. I think jujitsu. He was like an expert, like a
I'm
black belt
sure.
or something in it. He and George Knapp recently released a weaponized podcast where they spoke to a UFO witness who apparently was supposed to testify at the UAP hearing alongside Dylan Borland
Exactly.
at this thing,
Then right.
and Wiggins, and
Doesn't that beg
Newt Santelli.
10,000 questions all by itself?
It does, which I want to talk to you about because that's what I found most intriguing. The title of the episode was something like UFO witness who did not testify. And I'm like,
Exactly.
oh, why?
Now we need to know about this one.
Yeah. Did they explain why he didn't testify? I will get to that. But a new UFO witness has come forward on Weaponized. His name is Daniel Gockerell. He is a U.S. Army Ranger, and he claimed to have witnessed the following above Eglin Air Force Base in Florida in 2006. So I'm going to play the clip from Weaponized of him explaining what he saw. It's a pretty it's a little lengthy, but not too bad.
It's worth it.
So it's worth it. I think you guys are definitely going to want to hear his story. So let me go ahead and pull this up with Daniel Gockerell. I don't know if he's still an active U.S. Army Ranger or former, if he's still in the military. I did not catch that. But nonetheless, Eglin Air Force Base, which has an interesting UFO history. Let's play this clip from Weaponized.
Oh, and let me add this too before you hit that play button.
Please.
Remember that Eglin, it's right on the Panhandle in Florida. It is not rural. It is, and when you fly into that area of Florida, you fly right almost next to the public airports, right next to Eglin almost. So people are everywhere, planes are everywhere. So just keep in perspective where this happened.
Interesting. See, I was imagining, like most places, it's a remote air. Wow. Okay. Yep. That changes a lot because this is a pretty traumatic thing.
It is.
That he talks about. So how more people haven't, reported this outside of the military, that right. Now that begs a question. So let's go ahead and listen to Daniel Gockerell here.
Ready.
I step outside and I look to my left, and about, I would say, 300-400 yards, there was a clearing, and surrounding this clearing is these high mass portable generator lights like they use on construction for in roadways that you see and stuff, and highways and stuff like that. And I saw Humvees, military personnel out there, look like, and some black SUVs. And I see hovering about 15 to 20 feet off the ground, this giant, maybe 300 or so feet in length aircraft. There was no visible cockpit, no visible like traditional fuselage or engine. Like I couldn't see it. It was different to me. So right about the time I get out and I notice this, it hovers. It goes straight up, and when I say hover, I don't mean in a traditional sense. So when you think about any fixed wing aircraft, any bird that we have known to man right now, even a rotary bird, it oscillates when it hovers. This just goes straight up and it's dead quiet. Nothing, not a sound. I could hear the buzzing from the generator lights, right? So this gets about to the canopy, like height, a little over the canopy, and does a slight bank and takes off, and it rips right over the canopy, like looks like it was heading northeast. And which I'm guessing, I honestly couldn't remember. Just, I don't know, sometimes you feel like your cardinal directions, like which way is home. Anyway, this aircraft, when it banks, I can see that it's a perfect triangle, and it's gigantic, and it has a white light at each apex of the triangle and a large white light in the center. And it takes off and it zips out of sight. I mean, Mach something we don't know. And I mean, it takes off. And the biggest shock to me at that point was there was no audible report. There was nothing like something going that fast. It's going to bust the sound barrier. You're going to hear it. And I didn't. I heard nothing. And at that point, again, it was just the buzzing of the generator lights out there. I watched this as I'm smoking my cigarette, seemingly do several touch and goes, but it doesn't go down at that little drop zone that it took off. It just comes back, stays there for a second, couple seconds, and then takes off again. Comes back, stays there for a couple seconds, takes off again. And at that point, I grew bored of it, and I was impressed, obviously, but I'm like, okay, this is our military testing some awesome technology, and, you know, again, this isn't my wheelhouse, so I'm not, you know, I'm not really realizing that this is some sort of 0 point energy or something that we've never seen before. So it's nothing like I've ever seen before. I've never seen any military or civilian bird have the capabilities that something like this has. Again, there's no signage, there's no visible cockpit, fuselage. You know, there's nothing that I can see that, you know, would make me think it's any kind of traditional bird that we've seen or I've heard about.
In Destin,
Okay.
Florida. Right.
All right.
Right there in
Crazy.
Destin, Florida.
Yeah. Now I see why he was going to testify next to Dylan Borland. If not, Dylan Borland may have replaced him. I don't know. But how eerily similar the craft is that both of them saw. How eerily similar it was to that whistleblower who came witness, I guess, that came forward with UAP GERB that we talked about
Right.
a few weeks past. The dude I spoke to who had 5 triangular UFO sightings over Lemoore Naval Air. These triangles are everywhere.
And
It's
so
crazy.
consistent. Yep.
David Marler, we talked for 2 hours
That's
with
right.
him. Oh my God, the triangles, man.
You can literally write a book about triangles alone if you wanted to.
Yeah, Marler did it, and I'm sure there's
Exactly.
another one to follow.
Just keep at it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
So,
this guy, sure, I'd love to know why he didn't testify. Now, this is twice that this has happened to Corbell and Knapp. This is one of their witnesses that they trained to present their sightings. And this is the second time that something at the last minute happened. Remember the hearing before, their witness got yanked out from under them. I can't remember, was that Jake Barber or who was that witness supposed to be? We didn't know at the time.
yeah.
And then they stuck the journalist in.
Yeah.
That I'm blanking on his
Schellenberger.
name. Schellenberger.
Yeah.
Schellenberger stepped in at the last minute with no direct knowledge. So I wonder what that game's about.
It does seem to be a game. It seems like they get to this point where they're ready, they're comfortable, they feel, and then like at the last
Boom.
second, something happens, someone tells them not to. Maybe they
Right.
got threats right before. I mean, we've seen this happen with Grush to an extent, you know,
Right.
with gosh, what's his name? Matthew Brown with Immaculate Constellation. Like it happens. Dylan Borland, I'm sure, is feeling those slings and arrows right now as well.
Sure.
Now, I did want to tackle why he didn't testify at the hearing specifically, because that's what everyone wanted to know. It was in the title of the episode, so naturally everyone wanted to know. And all I found here throughout the entire interview was, despite not appearing at the public hearing, Gockerell's written testimony was submitted and reviewed by congressional and intelligence officials, but he did not testify because, where do I have it here? It was for a really good personal reason.
Sounds like a threat.
That's it. That's all Corbell was willing
Sounds like a threat
to say.
Yep.
Yeah, to say. Yeah.
Yep. Well, and their lives do get turned upside down, but you would think making your way all the way to a congressional hearing room, you would have already assessed risk and benefit of doing what you're about to do,
Mhm.
not standing there. So obviously something happened that caused a change. But as always, it begs more questions than it answers.
Yep. Well, and here's the important thing about this guy, which I think we do have to keep in mind. Unlike testifying in public, where he could risk, classified information or something like that, he did testify with congressional members present in front of the FBI and other members of what I don't know if it was Arrow or Defense Department, but he did go into a room and have meetings with people. So we know it's on the record. It probably with people more in the know than just these congressional people who
Right.
would be at the hearing. So, I mean, there's that. The other big thing is we know in the past that people politics aside, let's put politics aside, guys, for like 10 minutes, okay? Anna Paulina, Matt Gaetz, and several others, they went to Eglin, remember? To
I
have a
remember that.
meeting.
They sure
And
did.
in the middle, they went
sure did.
to get information about UFO sightings over Eglin Air Force Base. And in the middle of the meeting, the guy in charge got up and was like, I gotta pee. And he never came back.
And we're
He
left.
just left. So I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Was this guy Gockerell in that meeting with them? He was not.
Oh.
It was a separate meeting that he attended in Washington, actually. So that's interesting
It is.
that they went there to investigate quote unquote UAP sightings over Eglin. And that, now we're getting a witness coming forward talking
Right.
about a UFO sighting at Eglin. Was he the impetus for them going to Eglin to investigate? Who knows?
Gosh, I hope we
Who
find
knows?
out. And maybe it was a safer thing around classified data for him to do what he did. It might not be nefarious, such as a threat at the last minute. Maybe he was able to feel comfortable that by talking to these people behind the closed doors with the security in place, etc., that was a safer way to make sure they knew what he knew without having to take risks around classified information like Mr. Borland had to do. And then Jeremy Corbell and Knapp had to then literally edit the video of Mr. Borland to say edited. The screen would go dark. You couldn't even read lips. So maybe it was something along that line.
That is very interesting. Wow. There was one other thing. What I find most interesting is all of these military guys are coming forward and they're mystified by the triangles.
Yes.
And the only UAP that Arrow seems to be super interested in and like mystified by themselves are the triangles, as stated by the former deputy director of Arrow or deputy secretary. I don't remember what he was, but that dude that came forward with the Washington Post a couple months ago, that's the ones that Arrow is most interested in too. So I really feel like this is going to be the year of the triangles going into 2026, whatever comes next, another hearing, more witnesses coming forward, maybe whistleblowers. The triangles are going to play a huge part in that, as they always have. But
Right.
I mean, you know how personal this triangular UFO thing is to me, obviously.
I get it.
Having seen it. Like man, I want to know just as much as these guys. And the fact that they are like stunned by these craft and the way they defy the 5 observables and everything is just like
it's crazy. And then the uniformity among them. So not just the triangular shape, but the lights at each point of the triangle and a light in the center. You hear that constantly.
Every time.
I just have a hard time thinking that our military is outside of Destin, Florida, which everybody from Memphis, south of Memphis, goes to for summer vacation at the beach. The highly populated theme parks, water parks, I mean, you name it. Why would they be testing crazy secret craft there? That doesn't make sense. Now, he seems in the moment to have satisfied himself that that's what it was, but obviously after some time, he's rethinking what he saw.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that kind of thing going on in that location.
Yeah. And it makes you beg the question, does it want to be seen? Do they want
Right.
to see how many people report it, see it? Kind of like a lot of people think the Phoenix Lights was like a test on the public, like a psyop. Like, let's see how many people report this, how many see it. I don't know. I honestly, it's crazy. This is a funny comment that Pat said. I can't believe he said he
Oh.
got bored watching it. How could you get bored? That was a weird statement. In the interview.
Exactly.
I kind
It
of got
was.
bored watch. It was hanging out for so long that I was like, look, Lost is on. I got to go see what happens on Lost.
Yeah.
That was
But
a show
we
in
hear this
2006, right?
we hear this like from the Navy guys, that they're so used to the orbs, including those that come up out of the water, that they're absolutely nonplussed. They pay no attention. They just get used to it. Now, this guy doesn't have the history of seeing it routinely, but I do think, as many experiencers do, you come up with something in that moment that you think can help you explain it. And so I can see him trying to resolve that with experimental craft. We've got some cool stuff, only later it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's interesting. It was a great interview. I highly suggest people go watch that episode of Weaponized
Yes.
to get a little further into that. And look, the more these guys come forward, the more it's going to empower more. And that's, a lot of people may think that gets us nowhere. They're just stories. But look, they may just be stories right now, but these guys are they're doing the right thing. They're going
That's
and
right.
reporting it to people who can then investigate it and see if these are top secret black projects with
Right.
misappropriated funds, or if it's from Zeta Reticuli. So I don't know.
Exactly. But I do think there's something about it from all the experiencers we've listened to, where there is some kind of selection process about which humans can see or hear or experience and who cannot. He later in the interview, he talks about this thing going up and down, I think 2 or 3 times. So he watched this crazy speed, going silent speed, taking it way up and then dropping it back down. So it meant for
Interesting.
it to be seen, only
Yeah.
to be seen.
Huh.
To him.
Oh man. Yeah, to him, right?
To him.
I mean, well, and then you got the whole thing of like there were floodlights out there.
Right.
It seemed like this was planned. It was a coordinated thing.
Right.
And either they wanted him to see it or they were hoping nobody would.
Yeah, I don't know.
Triangles.
Triangles.
Triangles,
We
baby.
need to know. We need to know.